There is a reason Generation X often feels out of place in the modern world, and it is not nostalgia, it is wiring. If you were born between the mid-1960s and early 1980s, your mind was shaped in an environment that no longer exists. Not metaphorically, literally. You grew up in a world without constant supervision, without digital safety nets, and without instant reassurance. A world where silence was normal, boredom was unavoidable, and responsibility arrived early. To understand the Gen X mind, we have to go back to childhood, because that is where the operating system was installed. Picture this. You are 6 years old. You are sitting in the front seat of your parents' car. No booster seat, no airbag warning, sometimes not even a seatbelt. You feel the vinyl seat against your legs. You smell gasoline and hot plastic. You are not distracted by a screen. You are watching the road. And then something happens that would shock people today. Your parent lets you steer. Just for a moment, their foot is on the pedals, but your hands are on the wheel. In that moment, you are not protected. You are trusted. That difference matters, because safety was not something provided to you automatically. It was something you felt responsible for. Later, your parent parks outside a store and tells you to wait in the car. 5 minutes, maybe 10, sometimes 20. No phone, no tracking app, no way to call for help. Just you, your thoughts, and the quiet understanding that if something goes wrong, you will have to deal with it. This is where Gen X developed something rare, an internal compass. You did not learn safety as a notification. You learned it as a feeling in your body. Once that compass formed, the neighborhood became yours. The streets were not just roads. They were maps stored in your head. You knew where every shortcut was, which houses felt safe, which dogs were aggressive, which fences could be climbed. When your parents said, "Be home when the streetlights come on," they were handing you hours of unsupervised life. And in those hours, you learned how the world actually works. You built forts out of scrap wood and abandoned materials. No instructions, no adults. You learned physics the hard way. If boards did not overlap, rain came in. If nails were loose, things collapsed. You learned pain, splinters, scraped knees, bruised shins. But you also learned pride. You built something real with your hands. This is where Gen X learned a critical distinction. Being hurt is not the same as being damaged. That lesson stayed. Conflicts were handled the same way. No adult mediators, no referees. If there was an argument, you solved it, or the game ended. You learned negotiation, compromise, and how to stand your ground. Then there was the bike. Your bike was not a toy, it was freedom. You customized it, fixed it, knew every sound it made. When the chain fell off, you did not panic. You flipped it over, got grease on your hands, and made it work again. This created something psychologists call agency, the belief that your actions can change your environment. Modern life slowly removed that belief. If a phone breaks today, you replace it. If software fails, you wait for an update. But Gen X grew up looking under the hood. This mechanical intuition built confidence, quiet confidence, not loud, not performative, just the deep certainty that you can figure things out. That confidence extended to discipline. Consequences were immediate, clear, physical. Actions had weight, not a conversation, not a warning, cause and effect. This taught responsibility early, and it stayed in the nervous system. But weekends were different. Saturday mornings were sacred. You woke up early, sat close to the TV, and watched cartoons that existed only at that moment. If you missed them, they were gone. This taught something modern life struggles to teach. Presence matters. Moments do not wait. School reinforced this mindset. No internet, no undo button. Your brain was the hard drive. If you wanted to know something, you memorized it. If you made a mistake, you erased it and lived with the smudge. This trained focus, long attention, deep thinking. While today's world skims, Gen X learned to dive. Research was physical. Libraries, card catalogs, walking through shelves. Information had a cost. Time, effort. That made it valuable. Social life followed the same rules. Before social media, identity was physical. If you belonged to a group, you wore it. You lived it. There was no hiding behind a screen. Mistakes were temporary. Embarrassment faded. There was privacy. Then came work. For Gen X, work arrived early and without filters. Paper routes, fast food counters, grocery stores. You handled money, people, pressure. You learned the value of effort because you felt it in your body. And you were alone more than people realize. Latchkey kids. You came home to empty houses. Silence. Notes on the table. You learned to manage yourself. Psychologists call this benign neglect. Not abuse, not cruelty, but emotional unsupervision. It creates independence and something else, emotional compression. Gen X did not stop needing care, they stopped expecting it. So they learned to handle things quietly. This is why Gen X often seems emotionally distant. They are not cold, they are contained. They show love through action, through reliability, through fixing problems. Sarcasm became armor, humor became packaging. Then the world changed. Technology arrived fast. Gen X is the only generation raised analog and forced to adapt digital. They remember life before screens, and they learn the screens anyway. This makes them psychologically bilingual. They can function without technology and with it, but they never fully relaxed into either world. They kept adapting. Now, many Gen X adults live in the sandwich years, caring for aging parents, supporting children, maintaining careers. Financial systems changed under their feet. Pensions vanished. Crashes happened. Promises broke. This created a specific burnout. Quiet, high functioning. They keep going, even when exhausted. This is why Gen X is vulnerable to silent depression. They do not collapse loudly. They endure. And yet, something is shifting. Many Gen X individuals are reaching a turning point. Not a crisis, a recalibration. They are leaving empty success, choosing meaning, simplifying. They are learning that strength does not require silence, that independence does not mean isolation. If you are Gen X, you are not outdated. You are carrying skills that are becoming rare. Focus, resilience, agency, depth. You were built for a world that demanded competence, and in a future filled with noise, simulation, and shortcuts, that grounding may be exactly what humanity needs again. You learn to navigate without a map, to fix what breaks, to sit with silence. That internal compass you built as a child is still there, and it still works.